Those of us who own a small business are self-reliant. We're driven by freedom, by choice, by ownership. Small business people are optimistic, the kind of optimism that's rooted in a great idea. We can create jobs, we can create wealth, we can make the world a better place.
Small Business 2000 with Patty Bryant.
The founders of this country were small business owners. I am convinced that every adult American has an idea for a business. We take the risk believing that this idea will work. When you have your own business, you're free to act on those ideas. So we can't just do the ordinary, we have to do the extraordinary.
Small Business 2000 is made possible by support from IBM, serving the needs of small and growing businesses, and Mass Mutual, the blue chip company, ensuring the success of generations of family firms and growing businesses for 150 years.
Hi, and welcome back. Last week, Jeff Gordon and Jeff Allen showed us how they're building a business on a new wave of technology. Our program today is about a woman who is riding the wave of change in healthcare. And Jim Shell is here as usual. After 30 years of starting and growing businesses, he has a lot to teach us. In fact, he will show us today how to fire that employee who's not being productive. And Stephen Jackson is here perhaps to try to convince us all that an electronic organizer can have some benefits over a paper one. If you've never watched Small Business 2000, and if you've never been a music student, let me explain to you what's going to happen next. Music students have plenty of teachers, but once in a while, professional musicians will come to a campus and present a master class. In a master class, there are no teachers, only professional musicians showing the students how to connect the heart and soul to the nuts and bolts. In Small Business 2000's master class, you will find no teachers, no gurus, no academics, only small business owners who are already doing what you want to do. Come with me now to the Mile High City and meet a woman who could be your college professor because she has so many degrees. However, she is a master businesswoman. This is not construction. This is not food service. This is healthcare. Oxygen is a prescription drug, and to enable a patient to live at home, a healthcare provider delivers the oxygen and other physician-directed procedures where the patient lives.
Oxygen.
Home healthcare is part of today's healthcare revolution. Home can mean the house you owned for years, a long-term care facility, or a retirement center.
If I took this out, 10 to 15 minutes, I'd probably be dead, because that's my life.
Can you get in the car and go out to the grocery store if you wanted to?
I walk up to 7-Eleven. I was getting ready to walk up to 7-Eleven a while ago.
You were?
Sure.
What are you going to get at the 7-Eleven?
Oh, some chips and stuff like that.
They don't give you good junk food here.
No.
No good junk food. Also, you have a good attitude.
Well, I always have a positive attitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta have that.
We work really hard to keep people out of the hospitals.
So do you all think that people get better care in the home? Do they heal better at home? Do we
Yes,
heal?
absolutely.
There's
no question.
For
Yes,
instance,
in most cases.
there's just a lot less opportunity for infection in your home where your bacteria and your microbes are yours.
They heal better if they feel better.
Doesn't a lay person like me think, oh, the hospital is the cleanest, the safest, the right place to be?
Well, yeah, but
you all are saying it isn't.
Because you've never worked in one.
The founder and CEO of Healthcare Resources Group is Joanne Korn. This Denver-based business has 250 part-time employees, 100 full-time employees, and will collect $10 million in revenues this year.
Well, why don't we go ahead and check you and see how you're doing today?
Okay.
And I just need you to take some deep breaths in for me.
Joanne, 7 years as a hospital administrator, and while you were doing that, you caught a vision for what you're doing today.
I had been thinking about this business of temporary nursing care, not even home health at first, just temporary nurses in a hospital, because that's what I knew.
You had to hire so many. There were so many dollars going from your budget to pay these temporary nurses that you
Yes.
knew there was profit there.
Yes, I knew. I was running the whole hospital.
Right, but you saw how many dollars
Yes.
were going to pay for
Yes.
these nurses.
Yes.
So you knew there was a marketplace.
I knew there was a marketplace, and I knew the need, and
You also knew the people.
I knew the people, and so I thought, well, let's start this way. Let's do this way. So we started with that. It was too small of a scope. If you had a bad month, or if the monies didn't come in, the clients didn't pay in time, there you were. I mean, you were in a
Cash
bad
crunch.
predicament. Yes. So the next one we started was a Medicare company, because just with Medicare clients, and so this way we had two. Now the private company, maybe 1 month didn't do so well, but the Medicare company would pick up. And then the third business was the oxygen company, and how that came about is we had a lot of clients by this time. Well, a lot for that, not as many as now, of course. And okay, a lot of our clients would need oxygen. Well, we'd have to give it to Lincare, one of the national
So you're
companies.
going in to take care of these Medicare patients, to do their IVs or whatever.
Do their IVs or
They also,
nursing
they're
care.
getting oxygen from somebody else, and
Yeah.
you're saying to yourself,
Why don't I do this? Why don't I do this oxygen? This is our client. You know, when I say ours, I mean we're servicing this client. Why don't I do this? Why can't we eventually get to this one-stop shopping where any home care need that they are in need of can come from us?
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm doing well today.
I know your color is good.
I want you please to see if you think my ankles are swollen.
They're not huge, but definitely more than. Did you weigh yourself today?
Yes, but I'm not up.
You're not up.
The next one was, okay, now let's work on these retirement centers. Let's work on long-term care facilities, which are nursing homes. Let's staff them. Let's do the retirement center. Let's do the assisted living sections of the retirement centers, which are another level of care in the retirement center. Atrium didn't have one, but so that was the next business. That was the retirement
four.
and the long-term care.
okay.
Then we decided, well, we need a school. We need a school because a lot of our
Your employees
people,
needed to be trained.
They need to be trained more advanced training than what they had. I mean, they were trained, they had their certification, but it wasn't. If there's one thing you need, I mean, we're dealing with sick people. We need quality. You need quality. You need knowledge. You need a certain type of individual working for you. So we started the school and we became certified.
Dose is different than dosage.
So now we also
Dosage,
teach the long-term care
antagonistic
facilities,
effect
their
is-
aides, and then they go back to their
All right,
own.
you offer training to your customers, the long-term care folks and the retirement home people, and you charge for those classes that you teach?
Right.
We
don't
that's a separate business,
That's
profit
a separate
center.
business. Yes, separate business. So what we did was bought a travel agency. What we do with the travel agency is people say, what's that have to do with healthcare? But we will take 15 or 20 clients that have either respiratory problems, diabetic, and are afraid to leave the country because of the healthcare in other countries and without their physician. So we'll send a physician with them, and he or her will have knowledge of all their medical history before they go. They stay in the same hotel together. In case, God forbid, they need hospitalization, they have their own physician there to go to the hospital. So
Wow,
They
what
love
kind of
it.
places do you go?
Oh, Paris and Brazil, places where the
Rio.
healthcare, because there are a lot of people that with health conditions that love to travel, but they don't want to take the chance of going to Mexico.
And they have
or-
the money to do it.
And they have the money to do it.
And they can pay for this physician to go along. It's just they
Absolutely.
need you to put it together.
Yes.
How did you become a healthcare administrator?
Well, I was doing clinical work, doing counseling at the hospital, and one of the administrators, the CEO of this St. Anthony North Hospital, the doctors decided that they wanted him out, and the only person was with an MBA was myself in the whole system.
Okay.
So
So
I
they
was-
promoted within.
They promoted within, and what I was told is, you go up there, you be the administrator, but you're just a figurehead. Don't you make any decisions. And of course, I said, yes, I'll certainly do that, and knowing full well that, hey, Katie by the door, because I'm going to, this is my chance.
But you didn't get fired.
No, but I eventually did, because I fought the system. I would have probably stayed there until, I don't know who, until I might have still been there, because it was safe. I had 3 children. I was raising them
By yourself.
by myself, and every 2 weeks
You got a paycheck.
nice paycheck. And so unless I was pushed out of the nest, out of that particular safety net, I would have probably stayed there.
So some advice you might give to someone is that you don't have to wait to be fired.
No, in fact, don't. If you have this desire, it's this, and you know when you have it, you know that you just have to do this in this lifetime. You have to do something, at least try. Women, especially that are starting business out, my credit rating went to pieces because what I knew I had to pay and was going to pay are my people, that the payroll had to be met. So if I couldn't pay my
utility bill.
My utility bill, or more
Your own
likely
credit card.
my own credit card, which because before I had a certain lifestyle and credit cards. If I couldn't pay that, well, I couldn't worry about it. Never in my life had I been to that point where, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I paid my bills, and if somebody said, well...
Because you were a responsible healthcare executive.
That's right. And if somebody said, we're going to send a collector out for you, I'd never even heard of it.
Did someone say they were going to send a collector?
Oh, 6 or 7 of them did, on bills for $100 and things. Because my parents are not wealthy, so I borrowed $10,000 from that, and then I'd pay that back, and $10,000, and we
so
go
your mother and father were your bank.
Yes,
at the beginning.
At the beginning. Well, and then sometimes we'd get contracts like with retirement centers and nursing homes. They'd pay us before we did render the service. We were able to get them.
Thank you.
Yes. So, but I discount my service. I said, if you'll pay up front, because I needed to pay my people as soon as they
Deliver the service,
the service. And then sometimes you'd wait 60, 70, 80 days before you were paid. But I said, I'll give you this drastic discount if you'll pay.
Okay, so your startup cash flow strategy was to offer discounts for advance payment.
Yes. The Internal Revenue Service, their instant payroll taxes every 2 weeks. Well, sometimes I'd go 2 months or so. And, of course, I'd pay big penalties. But I use that money to survive that particular month, hoping that more monies would come in the following month where I could catch up on things.
You knew you were going to pay the penalty, and you paid it, but you used that money as cash flow to keep yourself sustained.
Yes.
So some people are afraid of the government. They think they're going to come blow you up. If you pay, you're not going to get blown up.
No, you're not. And they will come. They will harass you, just like bill collectors or anything else. They'll harass you. They'll come and say, "Okay, we're going to shut you down unless you pay." And I'd say, I've got I know some of the revenue officers here fairly well. At this point, we're past that, thank God. But I'd say, okay, fine, you shut me down, and before I pay my taxes on time and every cent, and because the IRS to me was like the Gestapo. It was scary. I thought that they would shoot me at dawn if I didn't pay my taxes. But so I'd come in and I'd say, no, look, let's talk about this. So you shut me down. You're never going to get your money. I mean, you're never going to, because I'm not going to have any way to pay it. So let's work out a payment system. And when if it got too high, then we'd work out a payment system.
Okay, that's the Willie Nelson strategy.
Yeah,
remember?
Absolutely.
They let him sing so he could pay.
So he could pay. That's it. And because I was never at his point, thank God, because of the money.
It's the same principle, though.
It's the same principle. I don't care. To me, what I owed them was as much as he owed them in my psychologically. It was because he had so much more money coming in than I did.
So when you get in a crunch, you go to the people that you owe money to, and you say, look, I am good for this. Give me more time, make a larger margin on me, and you just tell them straightforward, right?
Or there are times that I will assign some of my billing to. I'll say, okay, I'll assign you. I have this client, and I have Medicare client, or I have a Aetna client or something. I will assign this to you, so up until the vendor, if it's a vendor, something, until you're paid, you will sign this. You'll get this check instead of coming to me. You'll get it.
Joanne Korn has guts, and so does every small business owner I know. She was committed to make her business work and knew it would work, but she had terrible cash flow problems, and you will too if you have to manufacture a product or deliver a service before you're able to collect upon it. Joanne had to come up with some creative strategies in order to manage cash flow. After Joanne discovered that no banker would have anything to do with her because her company was so new, she had to come up with a way to keep going, keep the cash flowing. The first thing she tried was going to people who could pay her up front, customers who could pay her ahead of the delivery of the service. If they were willing to do this, then she would discount them deeply. Now, this cut into her profit margin, but it gave her operating cash. The second thing she discovered she could do is assign a future payment to a current debt. In other words, the oxygen company, to whom she writes a check about every 2 weeks for $15,000, she would say, this Aetna check that's coming in at the end of the month for $15,000 will be yours when it arrives. It doesn't even come through my company. That's assigning payment to a debt. The third thing she talked about is doing business with the IRS in a creative way, not making the payments on time, being willing to make the penalty payments in order to keep her cash long enough to keep going. I called this the Willie Nelson strategy. All of these tricks and techniques are valuable to you at the beginning because a banker is not going to be doing business with you early on. You have to be creative to keep going until you can attract the interest of a banker. And for free information about starting or growing your business, give us a call, 1-800-449-9309. We'll mail some out to you. Joanne spends more time in her car office than any other.
This is more of an office really than my home office that I have, or not my other offices, but I can communicate and keep in touch with every one of my offices while I'm going from one to the other. Any problems that come up, they can get in contact with me immediately here.
So you have how many different workspaces? If you counted the car as one, the home office is 2, then you have 5 others, so you have 7 workspaces?
I have 6 others, so there will be 8 workspaces. Well, I have my pager, and I have my car phone, and then I call in intermittently into every one of the offices. And I'm almost anal on that, you know. It's
Do
just.
Do you think this is a new way for all of us to think about working?
Well, I think it works for me.
Well, and that makes sense because no one really does their work or performs their service in the office.
No.
If it's home health care, whether it be oxygen or IVs or whatever.
Right.
Hey, okay,
Hi.
Terry, so here we are at one of your customers,
That's right. Gonna see
What
Life
is
Giver Road.
this?
This is my portable office.
This is huge. No, I mean, it's not huge, but it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a notebook and portable cell phone that I carry with me everywhere, so I can keep in touch with my office and our clients.
And you're typically not back at the physical office.
No, I usually try not to go there except maybe once or twice a week.
And you told me you came to this company. You came
Right.
to work for Joanne from a big business.
From a national company, right?
And you did the same kind of thing there?
Did exactly the same thing.
But you didn't have this portable system there.
No, didn't have the portable system or the flexibility that Joanne allows us with a smaller company. When I agreed to go to work for Joanne, that was some of the things that we negotiated was, having a portable office where we could stay on the road more, see more of our customers every day, but yet keep in touch with the office.
Why do you think
more
the big
regularly.
business wouldn't give this to you? It doesn't seem like a big expense.
They can afford to have more salespeople, and I think having more salespeople, they figure that the salespeople will have a little more time to, go to the office and have that downtime.
But one of the things you and Joanna figured out is you don't need as many salespeople because you're more productive with
That's right, that we can stay on the road more and see more people every day.
All of us have too much to do and not enough time. Stephen Jackson is here now to explain how an electronic personal organizer may help us all keep on top of things. Tell me why a small business owner should use an electronic organizer.
An electronic organizer as opposed to a paper one.
Right.
Why would someone use paper? Well, for the very same reason that you would use an electronic ledger as opposed to a paper ledger. Provides you a lot more control, a lot more flexibility over data, over input, over calendars that you're keeping, dates, times, appointments, schedules with people. You have a number of different views available to you, which you don't have in things like
All right,
paper
let me
calendars.
see the other views.
This is 2 days.
Okay, 2 days, all right.
This is a week.
A week.
This is 2 weeks, and you have a month available as well.
So once I've entered it, one of those places, it appears in all of those places.
Organizer will dial for you across the modem automatically.
All right.
And will log that call information.
So when your name that I'm going to call today at 3 o'clock comes up, the alarm goes off, I go then to I click on that's on my calendar, that activity I'm supposed to call you.
Right.
And then I can click on dial. And if
Yes.
my modem is hooked in, then it'll dial your number.
Right. You can group calendar and schedule with Organizer over a network. So if you're in fact network connected, you can share calendars among a group.
Kind of goes back to your team computing concept.
Yes.
That we can share our calendars, share information.
Yes.
Share contacts also.
You can share any information that is stored in Organizer, in fact. This is in fact someone setting up an appointment over a network with someone. Right now what this is showing you is it's showing you the people who you want to invite, and it's showing you their time that's available and the time that's not available.
Okay.
And then when you've selected all these people and you found all the time, organizers found all the time for you that everyone can meet, then it will send out a mail memo, a message, and say, please, would you like to attend this? And then attendees, potential attendees can say...
respond, yes, I do.
Yes, no, and I'll come back to you.
Okay. One of the best ways to use technology today is to access huge amounts of information on the internet. In fact, you can come to our website, www.sb2000.com. Or if you're not on the web yet, you can get free information from us by calling 1-800-449-9309.
Hi, Jeff. It's Terry.
Joanne's
just
top
checking in to make
leadership
sure you
were
got all
all
the lead.
recruited from big national health care
Is
companies.
he? Okay, he made it to the facility.
I look for the national companies because they train their people well. Don't be afraid of large companies because sometimes these people are not that happy. Try, ask them, say, what do you need? What do you need to come with me? And you'd be surprised. Well, I'd like to have maybe Monday afternoons because I can't get a babysitter on Monday afternoons. Could I work Saturday mornings? Yeah, fine. So just ask them. You're not going to always get them.
Joanne confesses one of her leadership problems is
when I know somebody is not working out and I should terminate them, but if they have a family or they don't have a husband or they have this, I keep them on and I keep them on to my detriment instead of just take my losses and let them go. Get them out. It's just, I'm terrible firing people unless they do something that jeopardizes a patient, then I have no problem firing them. Or if they come, if they happen to come drunk on the job with a patient, no, I have no qualms then. Then it's like, hey, you're out of here. But and I think entrepreneurs have those flaws. Entrepreneurs want to get this idea, they want to get it off the road, then they want to move on and let the people that are good at putting the ideas into motion and into effectiveness that do it. But then you want to move on and say, this. Look at that. That may work. Let's give this a try. Well, what about this company back here? Well, I have people that'll run it.
Jim Shell is here to tell us that avoiding a problem will not make the problem go away.
Running a business is a series of relationships, right? We have relationships with people, and you can establish a fond relationship with somebody, and that person can be just as useless as you know what.
You like them, but they're not performing.
But you don't do anything about it. We are, I think by nature, people are probably conflict avoiders. And I can tell you that for sure I was, and I suspect most entrepreneurs are too. And so we avoid the conflict of firing. And then what happens by the time all this damage is done and you've got this line of people standing outside your office, and meanwhile, the person who should have been fired, he's unhappy too, he or she.
Right.
They know.
Okay, because you didn't face the conflict to fire the person that you liked who wasn't doing very good. You just alluded to the fact that some of the other employees are pretty bent out of shape about that. They know that person needs to go.
It's destroying their opportunity.
Okay.
And particularly if that person happens to be in a key game breaker position.
All right. So you've had that happen. So when you actually have to do it, tell us how to do it.
Very, very carefully. I'll tell you an interesting story. I nurtured a manager that we had in our San Francisco office for years. A nice person. He worked hard. He wanted to do the job right, but unfortunately, he manages people with a whip, and it didn't work anymore. He was a little late. And so after I'd put off the process for 2 years, I finally went out to San Francisco, walked into his office at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. At 4:30, I walked out. Firing has to be a business proposition.
Did you do it?
I did it, but I did it on a personal basis.
It didn't hurt.
I put my arm around him. I told him I was sorry. He went into shock, literal shock, and the process drug out for 3.5 hours, and it soured me on firing forever.
All right, so what's the right way to do it?
The right way to do it is to treat it as a business proposition. If it happens to be a friend, maybe 3 days later go out and have a beer and work it out, but it's a business proposition. You want to prepare for it like you would for a business meeting. You want to have all your ducks in your line, all the reasons, all the whatever it is.
These are the numbers.
This is what's happening. Here's what happens when you leave. Here's why. You've got it backed up with your files, and then
do it. And
do
you
it.
said in your book to do it on Friday afternoon.
Do it on Friday afternoon, and then go on a Caribbean cruise the next day because it's going to be a long weekend.
This is just
On National
one
Nurses Day,
great program.
Joanne greets her staff with pots of geraniums.
This is where it is. Home health care is just where it is. You heard the nurses say, I mean, people like to be in their homes. They get well faster. This is the wave of the future, is home health care.
Do you think you'll always work?
No, I'll always, I'll never go off and retire, and I'll have, I'd like to take I'd like to be able to take some time off where, I can go for a couple months or so. I will always probably have my finger in my businesses. Maybe new businesses. Maybe I'll sell all these and go a different direction. Who knows?
Be here next week. We're going to talk about two things: putting the money together to start your business and managing cash flow to stay in business.
Small Business 2000 is made possible by support from IBM, serving the needs of small and growing businesses, and Mass Mutual, the blue chip company, ensuring the success of generations of family firms and growing businesses for 150 years. For free information on starting or growing a business, call our toll-free number, 1-800-449-9309.
And to order my book, Beating the Odds, or the companion videotape, call my office at 1-504-737-0076. You have to feel if you don't do this, your life will not be complete. Learn today, earn tomorrow.